Hello everyone, welcome to the third episode of Rocket Science today. We are going to talk about the AI and content marketing with Tina. Hi Tina, please introduce us yourself.
Hi Evelina, I'm Tina, I'm head of growth at EyeEm. EyeEm is a tech company from Berlin and we work a lot with machine learning here, precise with image classification. And this is also the reason why I work here, because machine learning and artificial intelligence are my passion. I'm actually representing the International Network Women in AI, and I'm also writing about AI on my blog, lernenwiemaschinen.ai in German, of course.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about the AI and content marketing. Let's start with the definition of AI. What do you think the AI means?
So artificial intelligence for me is a suitcase word. It's a word with many definitions. It depends on who you ask. So, but for me personally, it means that a machine is able to completely independently fulfill a specific task, and even better as a human, maybe.
Oh.
Yeah, so I think there's an official scale in which we are, like an official definition of AI as we see it today, and this is called a narrow AI. So narrow AI means a machine or intelligent system is able to fulfill one specific task. This is, for example, playing chess or playing another game like AlphaGo, and beat humans with that. But we are, for example, far away from a more advanced artificial intelligence, where a machine would be able to fulfill several independent tasks at the same time or several different tasks. So let's assume there's a machine that is not just able to beat you in chess, but also make you breakfast. That would be something like a strong AI. And this is something where a lot of people are trying to find out how to get there, but it's like a concept, and no one really knows how to get there. And also the progress is very slow. So in general, I think if we talk about AI, we talk about an intelligent machine that is able and capable of doing work or fulfilling a task independently better than a human.
Thank you. How can we improve content marketing?
Content marketing is a pretty broad topic for itself. So when we talk about content marketing, we talk about content production, we talk about content planning and analysis, but we also talk about seeding that content, for example, on social media channels. And we also talk about search engine optimization, so how to make that content visible within search engines. And these are so many different use cases for artificial intelligence and machine learning that we need to narrow it down a little bit. The topic that excites me most is the content production. So this is actually a very cool use case for machine learning, because what we're talking here about specifically is natural language generation and natural language processing. So natural language generation means that a machine is basically taking over the writing. So you're automating the writing process. And this is nothing new, actually. A lot of publishing houses are using these kind of technologies already since 2006, in the US at least. For example, big news publishing houses. Those technologies are used for a very specific kind of content, news content. So news content, if you imagine a newspaper and the very short reports about current events, you may find that they all look very similar. They all follow the same structure, and they are sometimes very data-driven. So, for example, the weather forecast, or if it's sports news, or if it's financial news, they always rely on data, and they are always very structured. So these kind of content types you can actually, or the production of those content types, you can actually automate. So a machine is able of taking these tasks over. Yeah, that's very cool because it saves a lot of time. It enables publishers to produce more content faster. And the editors can actually use the time that they now have, for example, to focus on more creative formats or on formats or articles where they really need to do an in-depth research. So the time you save, you can use for other tasks that cannot be automated yet. So this is something that's pretty cool. And it's just one of a million use cases.
Okay, and may you also to share with us other your favorite examples of AI in content marketing?
So other use cases, there are some very obvious use cases. So if you want to seed content, if you want to advertise, for example, a white paper or a webinar on social media, so we're talking about paid social here, then you can actually use programmatic advertising where the seeding or the placement of the ads and the targeting of the ads is taken over by a machine learning algorithm. So basically, the algorithm uses data from users on different social channels and tries to find the best match for your content. That's one use case. And if you want to dig into another area of marketing, which is the business-to-business marketing, you may want to use lead scoring. So lead scoring is something where the intelligent system, takes all the data of contacts you acquire and calculates which one of the contacts is most likely to become your customer. So when it comes to reaching out to those people and advertise your products, you can actually already switch or use different content types or different wordings to attract those people in a different way.
From your perspective, what is the next big thing in AI and content marketing?
The next big thing in AI and content marketing actually is applied AI, if you want to say so, because I just introduced you to a variety of use cases. But at the moment, what I see is that mostly big companies are capable of implementing those technologies. Like medium-sized and small companies usually don't know how to approach this, and they usually don't know how to implement and use those technology. Also, if you want to use a third-party tool, it's usually hardly affordable for the smaller and medium-sized companies. So the challenge at the moment and the next big step is that those companies get access to machine learning technologies or to tools and actually understand how they can use them and implement them. But if you want to talk about technology and what the next development step is on the technology side, then I would definitely say automation is a huge trend, and the machines will take over more and more tasks. And what I described earlier is very specific single use cases. And in the future, I expect a tool, for example, to take over whole processes, not just one single task, but the whole process. So example, let's assume you have a website and an algorithm analyzes your content, the content on your website, and suggests which content is working good and which is working not so good, depending on your goals. And at the same time, the system automatically produces similar content to the one that's already performing very well, publishing it independently and then seeding it independently on all channels. So this is a whole process, right? This is the next big thing when it comes to content automatization through machine learning.
Okay, and how about the biggest misconception about doing AI in content marketing?
I think a lot of people, again, think that AI is something like rocket science, something they cannot implement, something they cannot apply. And they are maybe also, for example, when you are a marketer and you're coming from the more creative point of view or looking from a creative point of view to marketing, then you maybe don't want to be confronted with this heavily technology-driven topic. So you probably avoid it. And then there's also, we know this from a variety of studies, people are afraid of AI. They think AI will steal their jobs. And there's no advantage, but just, a certain danger attached to the topic. So people avoid it, basically, for a variety of reasons, or the reasons I just mentioned. And I think that's the biggest misconception, because intelligent systems at the moment are not capable of automating whole processes. That's why I described it as the next big step. But we are far away from this very big step. Because right now we're still working, or the scientists and companies who use machine learning are still working on optimizing the current state. And I don't think there's at the moment a reason to be afraid. I think at the moment there are much more advantages than risks attached to AI. And I would always encourage people to be open-minded. And even if you are looking at marketing from a creative point of view, there are so many different sources who make AI understandable. Just be open for the topic and try to confront yourself with this, because there are so many benefits attached to it if you understand it and if you know how to use it for your benefits.
What advice would you give to someone trying to get into AI and content marketing?
the AI Content Marketing Institute. I'm not sure this is the complete right name, but I would just to Google it. So this is basically a website which basically tries already to combine those two areas, marketing and AI, and explains how they can contribute from each other and how marketers can use machine learning. So I would always try to get into this topic by reading first, trying to read content that tries to tackle both areas. And then if you want to go a step further, you can actually use Google Scholar to search for some research papers around marketing and AI. Research papers maybe seem to be a bit complex at first glance, but if you leave out the middle part, which basically usually contains a lot of calculations and focus on the introduction and the conclusion, then you can already read a lot and get a very good impression of the current status quo of the development of this technology in marketing. So, and then of course, there are a lot of communities and networks and Facebook groups where people from the marketing field exchange about AI. So it's always cool to join those groups. For example, Women in AI, and exchange. Yeah.
What is your favorite way to stay up to date on AI?
So to stay up to date on AI, networks are pretty cool, but also there are so many conferences at the moment taking place around AI. So I can definitely recommend to attend some of the conferences, also to get to know people and network people who work in this field. And then, of course, I really like Twitter, because Twitter allows me to follow all the leading experts in that field. It could be Elon Musk, but it could also be, for example, Andrew Ng, or some female experts like Joy Bulambini. And they usually tweet a lot about current developments and also current questions and discussions around AI. So Twitter is definitely the easiest and cheapest way to get new information.
Thank you, Gina, and thank you all for being with us. See you in the next episode.